Mics are on. Stand by. All right, it's 9 o'clock on this Wednesday. Is it
Wednesday? It's hump
Wednesday.
day.
It's definitely hump day.
Chris. Guess what day it is?
Well played, Tony.
Thank
P.
you.
Geico really just crushes it.
They do.
I mean, I don't know what their
not an ad.
what their advertising budget is, but between the Gecko, the Caveman, do you remember the Dikembe Mutombo?
Yes. Remember the one like
they do.
Yeah, the guy that Geico is 100% on car insurance. Remember that guy?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they mastered it. I mean, and they're right. By the way, they're right. They're headquartered literally 2 feet from here.
Yes, they are. But I believe they're moving. Don't quote me on that.
Are they?
I think they are leaving.
I thought they already moved here.
Friendship Heights. I think. Don't quote me. We'll get back. We'll research that in a minute. Anyway,
next week's story.
This is the
Next
Live
week's
Zone
rundown.
Prime Time. The Live Zone Prime Time. I'm producer Chris. That is Tony P.
What's
Thank
going
you so
on?
much for joining us, whether you're tuned in on Fox Local or Fox 5 DC's YouTube page, streaming on fox5dc.com as always. Of course, the deal with this show, as you know, Tony P, is if it's live and it's happening now, we want to bring it
very
to you.
well
And
aware.
We do want to start off with a little breaking news tonight because we have been following this story all night out of Washington, D.C. An Amber Alert has now been canceled. Right now, you are taking a live look at where this story ended on the left in Southeast D.C. On the top is the 3-year-old who was the subject of this Amber Alert, but it has been canceled. That is the update. Police say Million Honest Jeter was found safe with a family member in Prince George's County. That was just in the last half hour or so. Police issued that Amber Alert, though, earlier this evening after his father allegedly shot and killed the boy's mother and injured a 12-year-old sibling. We're going to take you back to the beginning now. That's the latest update, okay? He has been found safe, but let's take you back to the beginning. This all started shortly before 5 p.m. along the 4100 block of W Street Northwest. That's in Glover Park. Police tell Fox 5, Million, his sister, his mother, and another sibling were at their Glover Park apartment complex. Police say Million's father, Stefan Jeter, pulled out a gun and shot Million's mother several times. She died on the scene. After police say Stefan shot and killed the woman, he then shot the woman's 12-year-old daughter. She survived. The other sibling was not hurt. Then police say Stefan Jeter grabbed Million and drove away in his pickup truck. Now, police spotted the truck in Prince George's County, pursued it, and then Stefan Jeter crashed at 30th Street Southeast. That is the live picture you are taking a look at right now. That is that scene. So he crashed around 6:30 tonight. They say he then shot and killed himself in his truck. Around 8:30, police announced that Million had been found safe during a brief press conference. I do want to play that for you now in its entirety. Take a listen.
Good evening, good everyone. I'm Jeff Carroll, the interim chief of the Metropolitan Police Department. Just wanted to provide a brief update since our last media briefing. A short time ago, 3-year-old Million Jeter was located safe and unharmed in Prince George's County, Maryland. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who provided us information about his whereabouts and reached out to MPD. It was definitely helpful in locating him. As I mentioned before, the investigation here continues. Obviously, we will be investigating how did he get out there, what occurred since the suspect left here. Million was located in Prince George's County, and the crash that occurred here in the District of Columbia. So with that, I'll open up for any brief questions. Sure. So we're getting some conflicting information on that. We do have information from some folks that said there's potentially something that occurred actually in the apartment, and then it spilled out from the apartment into the hallway, and then eventually out in front of the location. So we're still kind of with that. I do know, as I said before, that the suspect in this case was the significant other of the deceased in this case. If he was actually legally a stepfather or not, that I don't know. Sure, obviously he was not harmed at all. As I said, he was found safe. He is with a relative out in Prince George's County, Maryland. I'm not going to specifically say which family member it was, but it was with a family member. That's the assumption we're working on right now. Obviously, like I said, everything is kind of unfolding. So we have detectives from MPD that are out in PG County, working with PG County to, again, interview those family members to get the specific details to kind of find out what was that time frame between the offense that occurred here, the traffic crash with the pursuit that occurred, with the suspect, and us locating the juvenile.
And then earlier you talked about just like how difficult this is, and maybe homicide is terrible. Three kids not have a mom or dad. Can you speak more on that?
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, I mean, this is just a tragic circumstance. I mean, for everyone involved, is the children, they have no mother. A child has lost his father as a result of this. I mean, it's an entire family that's been destroyed, and then you have the other loved ones that now are taking care of the children. So obviously our hearts go out to the entire family that's involved in this, and friends, both of the decedent in this case, and of the children that are here. Yeah, again, as I said, there's detectives that are on the scene out in PG County, so that's more information that we'll get to know exactly what they look like, but I don't have those details at this time.
But for all intents and purposes, this is pretty much over now.
Well, I mean, the on-scene investigation continues. Obviously, we'll continue to process the scene here and get any more information we can for detectives to kind of determine, what led up to this and how the child got to Prince George's County. But as far as we know, the suspect, he's deceased in this case. So there's a lot of loose ends that will still be need to be investigated to fully determine what happened here. So it's not over. So the other children are safe. One child is receiving medical treatment, and the other child is with his parent. His father. So we got a variety of information that kind of came at the same time. So we were notified by Prince George's County the day to receive information. So again, kind of working through Prince George's County, how they got it. Those are all the things that we're following up with. But we definitely know that the social media information that went out, that our media coverage here has definitely been helpful. So thank you.
The 3-year-old, will the information that you get?
Again, I mean, we put a lot of information out, so there was information that came to PG County that led them and our detectives to go out there. So again, we won't get into the exact specifics of it, but we appreciate the public's help on this. It's been helpful.
Please explain the relationship. You have Stephon Jeter. You have this woman who is accused of killing. They have a 3-year-old named Millie. Then you have the 12-year-old. Stephon is not the 12-year-old's father, but the woman who was killed, that is the mother of the 12-year-old. This other sibling, how old is that sibling? And is Stephon
is that Shamari?
parents of the sibling?
No. So the third child that's unharmed is 8 years old. The decedent is his mother, and he has a different father. It's not Stephon. Thank you.
So that was the interim police chief just about 35 minutes ago, delivering the good update, unfortunately, to what has been an absolutely tragic story. The good news here is the Amber Alert is canceled and Million has been found safe.
Thank God.
Shamari Stone following this story for us. He will have all the latest coming up tonight, Fox 5 News at 10, right here on Fox Local. Tony Peso. An absolutely horrible story, but really just the best case scenario for looking for this missing.
Exactly, and of course, I mean, the whole timeline of what happened and what happened, to this little boy throughout the entire process, being with his dad, then ending up with a family member. Thank God he's safe and uninjured, but just to think about the trauma and anguish that all those kids are going to have to go through, having their life turned upside down in literally hours, and to have just all of this chaos happen and be put upon them, especially, of course, the families of the deceased as well, is just truly just an awful story. I mean, when you're reading it out, and again, I didn't know every piece of this, the timeline, but just, my God, just like hearing it just once more was just absolutely awful. I just can't, when you look at that for, a young child like that to be put in the middle of this, to see that even though he's, very, very young, this will be part of him forever. And I hope that, he's okay and that he gets the love and support that he needs, as well as all the children that were involved in this awful, awful situation.
Yeah, so we'll have an update coming up at the top of the hour. We want to get to our other big story tonight, though, now, and that is the search for Nancy Guthrie, because obviously this has captivated attention across the country. Savannah Guthrie from the NBC's Today Show Her mom still missing. It's been about 24 hours since we first got the news that police had brought someone in, detained someone, was questioning them. However, that did not turn out to be, as far as we know, the person that was caught on surveillance video outside of Nancy Guthrie's home. But there have been some new developments over the past 24 hours out of Tucson. Police briefly detained and then released that man after questioning him. A new request for Bitcoin was reportedly sent to some media stations. All of this happening while police continue searching for clues in the hope of finding the missing 84-year-old who has now been missing for more than a week, 11 days, I believe. Fox News multimedia reporter Amelia Roy has details.
FBI agents spotted searching multiple roads near Nancy Guthrie's home in Arizona's Catalina foothills Wednesday morning. They are combing through thick desert terrain, hoping to find any evidence linked to a person seen on surveillance images captured on Guthrie's porch the morning she went missing.
The police can't be everywhere, but the public can be. So you want this video out there and as many eyes that can be on it as you can.
Those images already proving fruitful for investigators, with the Pima County Sheriff's Office saying they've received more than 4,000 calls in the last 24 hours. Police activity also ramping up, with authorities briefly detaining this man for questioning.
I was the one that flew into traffic stop.
That man, a Tucson delivery driver, was later released without charges. The FBI director says all these developments mean the investigation is heading in the right direction.
We have made substantial progress in these last 36, 48 hours thanks to the technical capabilities of the FBI and our partnerships.
Wednesday, TMZ also reported receiving a new message from someone claiming to know the kidnapper's identity.
They're not saying they're the kidnappers. They're saying they know who the kidnapper is and will give that information up for 1 Bitcoin.
Since Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, the Pima County Sheriff's Office says they've received nearly 18,000 phone calls. Officials say they're working closely with the FBI to follow up on all leads. In Tucson, Arizona, Amalia Roy, Fox News.
All right, for more on the investigation now, strategic analyst Brian Maloney and fraud prevention expert Marley Hornick join us now live. Brian, Marley, thanks so much for spending some time with us here tonight on the Live Zone Primetime.
Hey, it's great to be with you guys again. Always a pleasure to come in with Chris and Tony.
Brian, I want to start with you. What do you make of the developments over the last 24 hours? Tony P. and I, last night, we get the news alert that they have taken someone in, they have detained someone for questioning. Then we find out it's this delivery driver. They've stopped them, they've questioned them. Media's at the house, and then before we know it, released, and doesn't seem like it's their man. What do you make of this?
Well, I think, yeah, and thanks, by the way. There's a tremendous amount of frustration out there, I think, across America about this story and the way it's developed. And the best take on this I have seen today was from someone who was talking about the sheer number of missing persons across the country every year. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people who will lose loved ones to who knows what and will never have the benefit of the resources that the government is pouring into this case or the media attention, where this has been a 24/7 media fixation. I'm just looking at the images of the number of network cameras out in front of that house on that street, and it reminds me so much of the way the press gathers outside the White House. Just this row of cameras and reporters, anchors speaking right into these cameras, going all the way down the row. So we're looking at all this, and this, people are saying, well, if we can't figure out who did this, what hope does anyone else have? And that's a very, very, I think, unsettling thought.
Absolutely. Now, Marley, when thinking about the fraud side of this, we're talking about the ransom and the Bitcoin angle. For FBI teams and technical teams, how are they assessing whether the request for information, this person, hey, I know who this individual is, give me a Bitcoin. How are they authenticating through the FBI whether this is accurate or just another false operation that's being put in the ether by somebody?
Yeah, it's such a good question, Tony. And I know that on their end, what they have to do is try to run every one of those leads to ground. They have to look at every trace, whether it's the, the internet address or the URL or the back, the back data that they look at, the metadata on all those sites, trying to run to ground. Where is this request coming from? Is it credible? Obviously, once they transfer Bitcoin, it's gone. So they want to make sure that if they're going to make that investment, it's going to return a human being. It's going to return Nancy to her family. So I think it's a very fraught decision-making process, but it does look like the most recent request for Bitcoin is highly suspicious. Someone claiming to have information is demanding Bitcoin in exchange for the information. So it raises a really good question, which is, if they have information about this case, why aren't they just providing it? I mean, why don't they just want to help Savannah and her family get reunited with mom? I don't get that. And so I think this particular request is being treated with a lot of hesitation and suspicion, but I'm sure everything they're doing on the back end, looking at, the internet addresses and all of the ISP information on this, that's what they're looking at. They're trying to figure out, is this legit?
Brian, it's obviously been more than a week. 2 deadlines that were, mentioned in these ransom notes have now passed. What is happening behind the scenes? What kind of time pressure are investigators under at this point?
Well, from everything that I've seen and heard, I'm not sure that they are under that much pressure except to arrest a suspect. Because what we see when you talk to these FBI profilers and others, the experts, what they continually tell you is, and sad to say, the likelihood that she is still living is not that great. The odds are not that great, and that's just the reality. It's horrible, but it's true. And we have these numbskulls out there who are trying, give me a Bitcoin and I'll give you a tip. But the bottom line is, as Marley Hornick was just pointing out there a moment ago, I mean, there's a reward out there of at least $50,000 last I checked. Bitcoin currently trades at $67,000. So, and the Bitcoin is not anonymous. Bitcoin is traceable. I mean, you can go back and figure out, if you send a Bitcoin to somebody, it's all out there in the open. So that's why I'm calling these people who are, I think, putting these phony offers out there as a bunch of dummies, because I think they are going to get caught, they are going to get prosecuted, and they don't have information. I'm almost willing to bet they don't have any information. I realize they have to take all these leads seriously, but every con artist comes out of the woodwork. So, the timeline here is one of deep frustration. We're all frustrated. They are frustrated. And meanwhile, the media just it grinds on and on and on about this, and I mean, I don't know if it's helping or hurting at this point.
And it definitely is also cruel of people if they're doing it fake and just wanting to get attention. It's absolutely cruel. Now, Marley, let me ask you this: based on the technical developments, the collaboration we're seeing between the FBI and local police, Director Patel said today they're moving in the right direction. Do you see any signs in the investigation timeline, the elevation of things? Do you see any potential spots where we could see Nancy Guthrie alive? There are certain things in the investigation that say to you that she could still be out there?
Such a tough question. One thing that I do think happened today that was a really positive break overall was the discovery of that pair of gloves. One of the things that took place in the initial assessment of the Guthrie home, of Nancy Guthrie's home, was that basically they searched the home, and at that point, I don't think they were really taking it as seriously as as everyone is across the country now, because when they searched the home, they opened it up again really quickly. They only looked at it for 2 days, and they really didn't treat it like a forensic crime scene. They really didn't scour it for any kind of DNA samples or any kind of further information. And once they opened the door and let the family back in, they destroy any remaining scrap of evidence because it all gets bunged up. So what I am so excited about in terms of the developments in this investigation is the discovery of that pair of gloves. You match that glove, there's going to be DNA inside that glove that's unequivocally from whoever was dealing with that doorbell and looking at that door camera. Now you have real opportunities to find somebody. You have a solid DNA sample, and you have solid images from that camera. And, as to whether Nancy Guthrie may still be living, I think at this point, all we can really do is pray. We know she's frail. We know she's vulnerable. We know that her pacemaker was disconnected from the application on her phone that helps her monitor her status. Those are not good signs, just to be honest, not good signs. And it's been, heading into 11. That's not a good sign. But in terms of capturing someone and finding out what really did take place at a bare minimum, that glove is huge. This is a big deal.
Just one quick follow-up on the entry timeline with the, protecting the evidence, that chain of custody. Is that type of chain of custody, Marley, like, typical in an investigation like this, or should they have waited longer to let the family back in and treat this like a forensic crime scene?
They should have waited a lot longer.
Okay.
They should have kept that place on lockdown, and they should have waited until they had backup from people who have a deep experience. I mean, you have to realize this is a rural area, so they're not dealing with a lot of detective cases. They're not dealing with a lot of forensic crime scenes and a lot of evidence gathering. It's not their forte. They're right by the border. They're dealing with human smuggling and other nightmare stuff, but they're not dealing with this issue. So what they really needed to do was wait for backup to come in, hold the scene so that those who were more experienced, who came later, could have assisted in the process of making a thorough assessment. There are, serious forensic experts in these issues. I mean, NYPD, as a New Yorker, not that I'm biased, but they have extremely qualified personnel that would have happily gone over there and assisted them. The problem they made, or the mistake they made, was to open it up, because once it's opened, it doesn't matter who you bring in. It's dead. It's shot. You cannot isolate samples. You can't isolate fingerprints. You can't isolate incidents anymore because you no longer have confidence in how they got there.
All right.
My next question is for both of you. So one of the things that this story has done is make a lot of people out there more aware of their elderly parents, what they might need to do to take care of them, what they might need to do to make sure that no one else falls victim to this. Obviously, this is an extraordinary circumstance, hopefully one that we won't see play out ever again. But Marley, I want to start with you. What kind of lessons can people take away from this situation? And I don't mean to be morbid or get ahead of the investigation by any means, but what can people at home kind of take away from this, whether it's activating a Ring camera, subscription, or just checking in?
Well, I think it's so important when we have a beloved elder that we're caring for. And, I've been through this. I've cared for an elderly parent. And one of the things that I think is so critical, and it was overlooked in this case, tragically, by hours, was that she wasn't monitoring her bills, to the minute, let's say. So maybe she didn't know how to use auto pay, or maybe she didn't know how to set up something that was on a regular payment cycle, which is something, younger people have accustomed ourselves to. But sadly, this actually impacted the ability to get footage from her security cameras because her subscription ran out literally hours before the incident took place. Now, whether or not that turns out to be some kind of subterfuge, and I know that there are, there's no shortage of people right now who are under suspicion in this circumstance, because the, law enforcement is saying, hey, maybe this person was very familiar with the house and the location for the amount of time they spent inside and, looking for that item before they went in, all these little clues. But to go back to it, it's like, we have to help them. We have to monitor, and maybe we need a backup source for things like a pacemaker. We have to think of backups to backups, especially when elders are living alone, because you lose one thing and you could lose that beloved person. You could lose a key piece of information. So we're living in this technological age, and let's face it, younger people have an easier time navigating technology. And, we need to always step in and make sure whatever our elders are relying on, we know that system, we know exactly how it's monitored, and we have backups so that we don't ever lose a key piece of information. Absolutely.
And Brian, same question.
Because whenever we're, in a situation where we have elderly parents who are living on their own, sometimes that's because they are able to. And in this case, my understanding is that she's sharp as a tack and able in a lot of ways, but also can't really walk very much. So I think sometimes there's an aspect, and I'm not saying that's the case here, but it can be an issue of stubbornness. Sometimes folks, insist on living alone and aren't open to, depends on the kind of relationship that you have with your elderly parents or relatives or whoever they are. And they don't want this or that installed in the house, or they don't want you looking at this or making sure that bill was paid, or they don't want that camera on them all day. So there are always these variables. But, in this situation, you're talking about Tucson, a very, very dark street without street lights, just one Ring camera. There's clearly not enough going on there, but normally a place without a lot of crime. But you could say that about a lot of neighborhoods. And the truth is that this can happen absolutely anywhere. But my real thought here is I feel like someone is going to recognize those eyes of that perpetrator. And I think that's where he made his big mistake, was with the eyes, with not covering those, in the moment or two before the camera was able to be disconnected. We have a pretty good shot there, and I think that is what will be his undoing. Every time I look at those eyes, I think there's something distinct about them. Some relative, somebody, a friend, somebody is going to say, I know who that is, and that will be the end of this. I know it.
Brian, my final question is about the communications behind this. So we heard from the Pima County sheriffs that they're not going to have any more press briefings until there's a significant development. Do you think that communication strategy and the previous one for the last 11 days has been helpful in this situation, using social media or the family to get the message out? Or do you think there are other ways that could be improved in the future to potentially bring this case and Nancy home?
Well, I think this is a rare case of too much media attention, and I think that's why authorities are pulling back. I mean, it has turned into a media circus there, and I don't think that's productive, and I think that's the reason to provide, I think less is more in this case, and if you don't have anything to report, there isn't a need to go and conduct a press conference every single day. So, and I think the problem is the story is reaching it's getting close to where people are tired of it, and that's the sad thing. You don't want that to happen because we have a suspect out there on the loose who could do this to somebody else, who could do this to a number of other people. So we can't have people getting burned out on the subject, and that's what we're risking. So I think pulling back is a really smart thing, and if they have a major development, obviously it will be instant breaking news. It will be everywhere, and they know they have every camera in the country, if not the world, focused on them. So they've got what they need in terms of coverage, and they're going to use it when they need it and not any other time.
All right, Brian Maloney.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, I want to add to that just quickly because I actually think that the media attention has hurt the case. I really do. And I get why people wanted to follow it so closely, and I get the fascination and the concern and the compassion that is expressed through that media coverage. But if I was this person, I mean, that person, whoever that guy is not going to make any mistakes right now. They are laying so low. So, that whole entire period, if they weren't being scrutinized and the story wasn't being blasted across every front page and every news site, they might have been more active and might have made some mistakes that could have led to, a more rapid development in discovering the identity. This is my perspective. I mean, if I was that guy, I wouldn't even be breathing right now, So how are they going to find him when he's not moving and he's not making any mistakes and there's no clues being left? That's the only thing I would say about the intense media coverage. I think it may have hurt the case.
Yeah, well, hopefully not, but we will wait and see and bring updates to you as we get them. Brian Maloney and Marley Hornick, thanks so much for spending some time with us here tonight on the Live Zone Primetime. All right.
Thanks, you guys. Good night.
Good night. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to leave you with a live picture from our Fox 5 Skycam at Frederick, Maryland. Feeling a little better out there today.
I know, like a little cold snap at the end there, but it was good.
Coming up next, we're going to talk about what else Tony was keeping an eye on today. We're also going to take you out to Hollywood. A little sad news out there today, the loss of actor James Van Der Beek. Coming up a little later, though, we're going to check in with our friend at this point, Michael Wardian, ultra marathoner who just set a new world record.
Wow.
Running 7 ultra marathons on 7 continents in 7 days. Absolutely insane. Stay tuned for that as well. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Yeah, man, I'm here. I thought it wouldn't let me unmute. No, that's fine. I have another interview. Can I go ahead and do that while I wait? Yeah, okay, cool. Sure.
That's going to remind you what you'd be missing if you didn't pick me. You'd be missing a lot. So would I. Would be missing everything.
Kiss her.
I
Kiss her.
learned a lesson about
Oh,
your
they cut it off before he kissed her. Tony P., not sure if you were a fan of Dawson's Creek, but
I was, yes.
in my day,
Some reruns.
In my day, it was one of the biggest teen dramas of all time.
Oh,
And
yes, it was.
unfortunately, we've got some sad news to report from Hollywood today. Star James Van Der Beek died today after a long battle with colorectal cancer. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin took a look back at his life and legacy. I want to play that for you now.
I didn't want you to go. I wanted you to stay here with me.
Actor James Van Der Beek has passed away. Van Der Beek is best known for playing Dawson Leary on Dawson's Creek throughout its run 1998 to 2003. During those years, he also established himself on the big screen, with roles including 1998's Varsity Blues, Texas Rangers in 2001, and The Rules of Attraction in 2002.
6 months ago, I found out that I was diagnosed with cancer.
Van Der Beek had been open about his battle with stage 3 colorectal cancer, sharing his diagnosis in November of 2024. He became active in raising awareness. In December 2024, he was part of the Fox special The Real Full Monty, bringing attention to prostate, testicular, and colorectal cancer. In preparation, he joked about how the dancing may have given him pause, but from the start, he wanted to help put the spotlight on early detection.
The reality kind of set in about what we were actually going to do and how we were going to get the attention to raise the awareness. But for me, I knew that Anthony would put together a really good group of men, a really good support group, and I thought it would be a really amazing thing to be able to share my story amongst them and enjoy that support and have everyone come together for that common goal. And that's exactly what it was.
Most recently, Van Der Beek made a surprise video appearance at a Dawson's Creek reunion charity event, which was in support of F cancer. James Van Der Beek is survived by his wife, Kimberly, and their 6 children. Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Yeah, only 48 years old.
Just tragic. And, you know, it was really interesting. One of the things that I followed throughout the last year or so is that, he had this cancer treatment. A lot of his fellow actors from Dawson's Creek and other shows that he did came out in support for him, whether it be GoFundMe's. There was I think a Dawson's Creek benefit concert or event to raise money for the family because they had run out of funds. And across social media today, a few people have been posting with a lot of views and likes about some of the companies could have picked up some of that help. Maybe Sony Pictures being one of the folks that he worked with, maybe they could have helped out a little bit more. Maybe they will help out with some of the the future costs here, because it was so difficult for him in this final year to take care of that and raise his incredible family. And we're just sending all the love to his family.
He leaves behind.
Right, an incredible human being too.
An
Just
incredible
like
human being, and really using his platform since he found out about his diagnosis to really spread the word. Obviously, it's there's no shame involved in any sort of sickness, but this is obviously a deeply personal and intensely personal issue. And he was very open about the earliest signs that he discovered, and so a lot of fans really feeling this loss today.
Of course, well, and like his kindness. I mean, you look at all the tributes that I saw today on social media, how kind he was, how giving he was in shows and in scenes, and helping young actors as they were figuring out their life, because he was basically, an early, not childhood star, but like kind of like a teen to, to early 20s type star. It's a lot of pressure to put on somebody. And he has used his platform since day one to help actors, to be out there, to talk about important issues. And the biggest thing, having that Full Monty episode special there, where a bunch of men got together to talk about tough issues. As men, we're not taught that. We haven't been taught that in previous generations, to talk about these issues. And James was out there 100% doing it, walking the walk, and he's going to be so missed. I loved both the shows. I wasn't really around, really. I was born, but I wasn't around.
You were young.
But his influence
it was a classic.
still lives on.
Blues, I don't
yeah,
want
Varsity
alive.
Blues. Incredible. So he'll be missed, and we just pray for his family.
Tony P, let's talk about what else you can keep
Yes, and we're going to start here with a story you probably saw on social media and around the country today when it comes to airspace, because the Trump administration briefly shut down airspace over El Paso today before the FAA reopened it within hours, saying there was no threat to commercial aviation, though the notice labeled the area a national defense airspace at the time and warned pilots of a possible interception by federal officials. Reporting tied to the disruption cited that Pentagon counter-drone operations near El Paso International Airport and nearby military activity could have triggered this notice from the FAA. Speaking of drones, the NYPD said it expects federal authorities to increase their ability to disable rogue drones around major events in New York this year. Commissioner Jessica Tisch called drones the top emerging security threat in New York City and said the department has invested in detection and mitigation systems while awaiting expanded federal powers for NYPD officials and for federal officials as well. So that's one thing to watch with some of the World Cup events, as well as some of the major, football and just overall stuff coming in 2026 to New York. Back here in D.C., Attorney General Pam Bondi's House Judiciary hearing today turned contentious over the Epstein files. Democrats pressured her on transparency and the exposure of victims' information in the files releases. Attorney General Bondi refused to apologize to survivors and lawmakers today, with lawmakers including Representative Thomas Massie criticizing the redactions and demanding fuller disclosure from the Justice Department from here on out in accordance with the law passed last year. The Epstein scrutiny also reached the 2028 Los Angeles Olympic Games. The LA 28 Organizing Committee, publicly backed Casey Wasserman, affirming his leadership position despite renewed attention tied to the Epstein-related records last week. Irish national Seamus Culleton has been held by ICE for 5 months despite having a valid U.S. work permit after a pending green card application as well. He was arrested in Massachusetts in September and transferred to a detention facility in Texas. Culleton, who is married to a U.S. citizen and runs a construction business, has no criminal record, and his wife and attorney are pushing for his release, and Ireland's government is providing consular assistance. He has also talked about deteriorating conditions inside of those federal detention facilities. In the world of business today, the January jobs report came today and showed 130,000 jobs added and unemployment being dropped down to 4.3%. But major revisions cut 2025 job growth to 181,000 total jobs for the year. Gains were concentrated in healthcare, social assistance, construction, and professional services, as markets adjusted expectations for Federal Reserve interest rate policy, with a lot of experts saying that this will make the rate cut even less likely at the coming meetings next month. Also in business, AI firm Anthropic pledged to cover 100% of grid upgrade costs tied to connecting its new data centers. The company said it will procure net new power and reduce consumption during peak demand hours to prevent electricity costs from shifting to ratepayers. A very nice development, especially here in the DMV, Chris, with all the talk being about those data centers. In the world of entertainment, Dancing with the Stars announced its first fan convention and live show will be set for July 31st through August 2nd at Acrisure Arena in Palm Springs, California, featuring professional dancers, former champions, and judges Carrie Ann Inaba and Bruno Tonioli. Also in the world of entertainment and sports today, we have the Super Bowl coming up next year. Again, we can always get that countdown started, and ESPN has already started that talk by entering early talks about a Pat McAfee-led Field Pass alternate broadcast similar to the Manning cast for Super Bowl 61. Talking and continuing that shift towards personality-driven telecasts. And our Black History Month fact of the day concerns farming and business. George Washington Carver, the brilliant and famous farmer, was known to create, listen to this, 300 new products throughout his career that involved oils and peanuts. He was known for farming peanuts, was his main beginning path, and 300 products came out of that. So it's really, really cool that he developed things like lotions, soaps, cooking oils, and peanut-related items.
P-E-A-N-U-T.
Yes. Okay, my lips kind of pursed a little bit.
I am the last one.
My lips pursed, okay? I'm sorry.
Last one in the world who can ever talk any crap about, stumbling over words.
But he is a legend. I mean,
that sounded an awful lot.
Peanuts. Peanuts. I am sorry. But again, George Washington Carver, absolute legend. You can find him in the African American History Museum, too. There's a whole section on him.
I want to come back to Pat McAfee real quick. So, the Super Bowl, like the Emmys, bounces around networks each year. Everyone
it sure
gets
does, yeah.
Type of a thing. Is ABC up next with ESPN?
ABC is up next. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so this.
I don't want to mention that because we're on Fox.
No, that's totally fine. I mean, it'll come back to us eventually.
It will, exactly.
It's got to go through all the other networks first. It makes sense why they would do this. I mean,
it does.
I don't hate the idea. We have joked about on this show, if there are live events out there, we would basically do the same thing.
Right.
You would watch us watch it, and we would narrate over it. I do think that is what people like to do. It talks about what we talked about yesterday. They like this. They like their kind of news and content filtered through a voice that they like to watch and trust. So.
Right. Well, it also ties into the whole streamer era, right? Where people will watch individuals live their life through, whether it's
we watch
streaming, whether like Kickstarter. What is it? What's the streaming platform? Discord.
Twitch,
thank you. Twitch. Kind of even I don't know it. But again, it's about people want to see in real life interactions. I think Pat McAfee is, of course, he is I would say the new media representative, maybe him and Katie Feeney, to do the social media first type of content. His show got started with that.
Do you think they'll make him wear sleeves? All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break.
Not a shirt.
To our live Fox 5 Skycam camera at the wharf. We're going to leave you here with this live picture if you're watching on Fox Local and Fox 5 DC's YouTube page. Coming up next, though, we are checking in with our ultra marathon world record holder, Michael Wardian, to find all about how the hell he manages to do what he does. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
I just did the first one to run the Boston Marathon. I just thought it would be cool to run in Boston once, and then I got hooked, and that was my first marathon was Marine Corps in 1996, and then my first Boston was I was lucky I qualified.
All right, welcome back to the Live Zone Primetime on this Wednesday night. Tony P, in case you're not aware, there is this thing called the World Marathon Challenge.
Really?
Have you heard of it?
I haven't. I mean, the only thing I've heard is like the Iron Man type thing, where you do like 9,000 things, triathlon with a swim.
Got nothing on this.
I can sense that.
7 days, 7 50-kilometer races, 7 continents.
Oh my God. All at once?
I couldn't do...
How do you fly there?
I mean, that is a question that I have as well.
Yeah,
but
like just
guess what?
logistically, can you help me a little bit with
The
that?
new world record holder ties right here to the Washington, D.C. area. A few days
Wow.
ago, one man named Michael Wardian set a new world record. We're talking about the extreme athlete. If the name sounds familiar, just for the record,
Sure does.
It's because you may remember him from the Live Zone Primetime back in November. He's the same guy that organized that Taco Bell 50K late last year.
That's
and
right.
If you think he's a glutton for punishment, man, I don't even know what to say to you, because Michael joins us live once again to talk about his latest world record and more. Michael, I mean, yes, absolutely. A round of applause. Congratulations, first and foremost.
Whew, I mean, that's a lot of hardware, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, it's heavy. It's lucky I've been doing burpees to be able to hold up my chest.
Yeah,
right.
That's a whole
You got to do more workouts for this.
Go on his Instagram page, because you would think, and again, I loved your caption saying, you know, I'm pretty, quoting Forrest Gump, I'm pretty tired. I think I'll go home now. And then you went home and you did a buttload of burpees. Can you just not sit still?
Well, I mean, my boys were doing a workout. I didn't want to miss it.
Oh, I mean, I got to ask you. So, in November, you were doing Taco Bell while doing a run, and you know that type of athletic endeavor. For an event like this, what type of preparation, food, drink, exercise, stretching, how do you get ready for an endurance situation like this, where you're constantly having to do all this and keep your body moving? Like, what's that preparation look like to be able to do this?
I mean, I think I've been preparing for years. I mean, I think that these are stage racing. It's basically like a fancy stage race. Like, I've done races like Marathon des Sables, where you're like carrying all your food for a week and you're moving through the Sahara Desert, or I've done a race called the Coastal Challenge, where you're running from place to place in Costa Rica. This one, it just happens to be, instead of like going back to a tent or a hammock or something, you're going back to like it's actually the Guns N' Roses tour plane in between, and then you're flying, you know, anywhere from 11 hours. I'd say most of the trips were between 8 and 11 hours between the different continents. And yeah, that's funny. That's the plane that we had to take to Antarctica. But yeah, we were on one plane to Antarctica, and then we were on a very nice kind of like business plane on the way around the rest of the world. So the locations were Cape Town. We started in Antarctica, flew to Cape Town, flew to Perth, went to Dubai, Madrid, Brazil, and then we ended up in Miami 6.5 days later.
Wow.
All right, so you not only set the new world record, you crushed the old one. Tell everyone how quickly you were able to do 7 50-kilometer races on 7 continents.
Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, I was trying to beat a guy named Kristen Brown Johnson. He finished all the 7 50Ks in 31 hours, 25 minutes, 37 seconds. And together with the rest of the team, I bettered that by 4 hours, 38 minutes, 47 seconds, finishing in 26 hours, 46 minutes, and 50 seconds. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was an absolute, unbelievable. I was hoping to be a little bit better, but I ended up being quite a bit better. And I ended up, I actually won the marathon too. So this is the 3rd time that I've won the 7 marathons, 7 days, 7 continents. So I currently hold the record for the fastest average time for 7 marathons, 7 days, 7 continents, and also 7 50Ks and 7 days on 7 continents. So couldn't be happier. Like, absolutely.
My mouth's like dropping.
With,
Michael, so let me ask you this, because it's not as if running a marathon or a 50K isn't hard enough. Antarctica, Perth, Australia, Dubai, Cape Town. Is one harder than the other? Do the elements make one more difficult than the other? And for you, which one is it that's the most difficult?
That's a big one.
And which one is the, in air quotes, easiest?
Easiest, relatively.
Yeah, man, I can answer that. I would say I was expecting Antarctica to be the hardest. Usually it is for me, since I've done this 3 times, and that's just so weather dependent. And this year was no different. It was a pretty short loop that we were doing, and there was a big section of about 2 kilometers that was into like 30-mile-an-hour winds, and so that just made it very hard as far as just kind of battling the wind each and every loop. It was actually colder here in DC than it was in Antarctica, but with the wind chill, it was very, very cold in Antarctica. So that was a little tricky. I'd say for me, the worst day was, or the hardest day was in Australia. It was 107 degrees Fahrenheit when we got off the plane. And you guys know, living here, like, it hasn't been that warm in a while. That's more like our July, August weather in the DMV. And so I really suffered, and then I didn't do a good job of recovering. So you were saying, like, one of the big things is how do you recover between, and I just didn't eat enough calories between. And if you actually go to my Instagram, you can see I graded myself pretty poorly on, like, execution on that day, and the next day in Dubai really suffered. But in Dubai, I got a bunch of food, and then I ended up winning the rest of the races for the marathon, and I won every day for the 50K. But I think yeah, that's part of one of these journeys, is like there's going to be something that goes wrong. Everybody kind of got a little bit sick at different points, and I had to battle through that also. But for the most part, it's yeah, I felt like I executed pretty well. I did have a very rough day in Australia and Dubai just because of the heat, but I knew that it was going to be hot, and I just didn't do as good a job regulating it as I could have.
Even with those quote-unquote wrongs or flaws, those are very relatively speaking, since you're an absolute champion.
Man.
Let me ask you this. What do you think was the key to your victory from a physical perspective, and then from a more mental perspective, that helped you win every day and then have the ability to stay consistent throughout the 7 continents?
I think my preparation, I think I do a lot of training. I'm always preparing for something. And so I think just being prepared, I told my buddy, like, you're showing all his photos, which is awesome. My buddy Kyle that was taking pictures and content for me, like, we just got to beat water. And so, like, when things, I think it's like a Bruce Lee quote, but like when, things start to go poorly, like, you just adapt and are able to overcome, and you just keep thinking, like, I'm just going to keep doing the right thing. And it's something I say it all the time, but the small things become the big things. So, you just keep taking care of yourself, keep doing the right thing, and good things happen. And that's what I kind of believed. And, if you keep doing that, everything seems to work out for me. So, that was kind of my strategy.
Okay, so this kind of plays directly into that question. It's a little bit of a retread of that question, but also at the same time, most people, if they were even going to attempt this, and most people would not attempt this.
Nope.
Most people could not even dream of attempting this.
I don't even dream about dreaming about it.
In the lead up to this, you not only did a Taco Bell 50K, but I also saw you running up and down the Exorcist steps here in Washington, D.C. So is that part of the training for this, A? And then B, what else is there left for Michael Wardian to accomplish?
That's a really good question.
In the world of ultramarathon and extreme running?
Oh my gosh, there's so much more left to do. And yeah, that was definitely part of it. Like, yeah, I definitely put that out there. I did 100 times up and down the Exorcist steps in, I think, 1 hour and 39 minutes. And I think so far, I think that still stands as the fastest time that I know about. But I would love it if someone could beat that time so that I have something to go back for. And then leading up to it, I don't know if you guys followed, but there was actually a burrito league. And it's basically you just run segments, so like small loops. And I set one up here in Arlington. And so I was doing that, and that usually runs all of January. So I did that until about January 24th when I flew to Cape Town. And then a bunch of the other guys and girls in the area continued to do the burrito. It's called the Burrito League. So I was doing that as part of training. And then as far as what's left, I'm doing a big run to all the MedStar hospitals. It'll be about a 200-mile run in April of this year. And then in July, I'm doing a really exciting run on the Pacific Crest Trail, starting at the Canadian border and running 2,600 miles down to the Mexican border. And then in 2027, I'm signed up to row solo across the Atlantic Ocean. So I definitely have a lot of, rowing a boat, yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
so
well,
my uncle was a rower in college. May he rest in peace. He loved rowing. He said it was one of the hardest sports you could ever do. You got to pull.
Michael,
all the resistance.
I insist that you have a GoPro on yourself at all times. So here on the Live Zone Primetime, we can check in on all of these adventures. Real quick, we only have a few minutes left, though. But like you said, with the MedStar thing, one of the elements of this race that you just did and won was there was a charitable component to it as well. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm trying to raise the goal is around $10,000. I think we're about at $3,000 for Culture City. It's a sensory organization that helps individuals and athletes that are challenged with the sensory issues. So like you may see them at some of the venues. I know they're at a bunch of the big stadiums, but it's basically a place where people can go that are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and they have a safe space, and so they can still take part. I work with them in that I pace some of their athletes in marathons and, well, not ultra marathons yet. Most of them are doing marathons. So I've worked with some of their athletes at like the Boston Marathon or New York City Marathon. And so it's just an opportunity for them to take part in these bigger events with somebody that's kind of trained to help them achieve their goals and dreams.
Wow.
That's awesome.
If you had one piece of advice quickly for anybody getting started on the marathon journey or a type of athletic pursuit like this, what would be that piece of advice?
I think the biggest thing is sign up for something and hold yourself accountable and be consistent. Like I'd say it's better to run more consistently than it is to have big hero days. Like those look awesome on Strava and on your Garmin or your I think that's just not as impactful as doing something every day.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense.
Michael Wardian, the World Marathon Challenge.
Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Holder. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Wow.
Thank you for spending time with us here again.
Thanks for the interest, and I appreciate the support.
Yeah,
it's a world record.
We'll send Tony P out with you on that MedStar run.
Yeah, listen, I might fall over covering it, not just running.
Michael, have a great night. Thank you again.
Oh my God.
Hey guys, thanks.
Well
very
done,
much.
man. Well done.
I mean, absolutely wild.
I think I would die. Like I literally would. Like I would not make it past probably 5 miles.
I can't even. I mean,
like it's not even in my head.
He beat it by nearly 5 hours.
Think about it.
5 hours.
Literally a day. Basically took him a day. Basically to do all of that. I mean, just first of all,
so wild.
How do you have that type of passion to want to do that? Number one, the number two, to actually execute. Like that's like, I thought Tom Brady was the greatest athlete of all time.
Yeah.
This guy might contend with him, if not beat him.
Literally would leave him in his
dust.
In his dust. I can't wait till we get to catch up with him again
on
his next adventure.
Fox should send me out there, just on the road with him. I'll do it.
Love that.
I'd love it.
Because again, and I know we're in the middle of the Olympics right now, but I always come back to that idea of like, oh, there should always be one normal person out there as well, so you can see just how elite these real
have you like on a Segway. I'd be on a Segway with him. That'd be perfect for me.
Just ride alongside
like Paul Blart Mall Cup.
Like the coaches do when you're out rowing. We're down to our final 15 seconds. Thank you to everyone who joined us here on the Live Zone Primetime, whether you're watching on Fox Local or Fox 5 DC's YouTube page, Fox 5 News at 10. Coming up next, Shamari will have the latest on that breaking news we brought you at the top of the hour. Have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.